Bjorn, thank you very much. Great to have you on the show. Let's get right into this then. So is net zero going to lower our energy bills?
No, it's going to massively increase them. Look, if it was actually going to lower your bills, of course, everyone would do it. We wouldn't have to, twist everyone's arms to keep doing more and more climate policy. It is because it's expensive. There's nothing wrong in principle about, expensive stuff if it buys you really good things. But in reality, what you're getting for net zero, especially if it's just Britain doing it, is massive costs and virtually no benefits.
So I'm looking at a graph on my screen now, which is climate policies drive up prices. So is this essentially showing us, I think we've got a few of these different things that we can throw to here, that actually people pursuing net zero and not using their own natural resources makes that country poorer?
Pretty much so, yeah. So what you're looking at here is the UK electricity price, and it's basically gone up more than double over the last 16 years, and it's now tripled by 2023. And that was not necessary because if you look at the US, they've had virtually no change in their electricity bill per kilowatt hour. This is both for industry and for residential prices. So it literally shows you how much you have to pay for a kilowatt hour in the UK and in the US. You needn't have done that. You're now spending about 60 billion quid each year too much. It's twice what you're paying for primary school in the entire UK. And you needn't have done that. And yes, when Ed Miliband is telling you, oh, it's just because of fossil fuels are so expensive. Oh my God, what's wrong with you? Because clearly they're using more fossil fuels, and apparently these very, very expensive fossil fuels in the US, but they get much, much cheaper electricity prices.
Talk me through what we're looking at here. So I've got another graph on the screen here, net zero, enormously costly. I can't even begin to fathom what that number is there underneath the word world.
It's a very, very long number. So for the world, it's estimated across the 21st century, net zero is going to cost us $27 trillion or 27,000 billion dollars per year. Just for the EU, just to give you a sense of proportion, it's going to be 3.3 trillion euros each and every year starting in 2050. And just to get a sense of proportion, that's more than all the cost of all the core government services combined in the entire EU. So the EU, as you can see, spends 0.8 trillion for education, 1.26 trillion for health, and so on. So basically, it's more than what we spend on everything you want from the state. Most people are just not going to be willing to accept that kind of cost.
But it's also like we're not really told that. That's not part of the buy-in, is it? No. That it's basically, if we want net zero, we're going to have to pay more for that than anything else. Can I just ask, for the sake of clarity, where have you got these figures from, Bjorn?
So these are the best period studies that we have. Again, it's incredibly important, as you point out. Governments have not been very willing to actually tell you how much this costs. So this is from a study by Mendelssohn, from Yale University, who gathered all the best climate economists in the world to try to estimate what is the cost of net zero, both what's the cost and what's the benefit. And most of the researchers said, oh, this is very hard, and didn't actually do it. Some of them did it. This from the MIT report that did groupings for individual countries and areas, and that's where that cost for the EU comes. Okay. Again, it's peer published. It's not the only answer, but it gives you a sense of the size.
Yeah, fair enough.